Welcome to this month's Work-Based Learning, Microlearning. Today, we're excited to share a new tool to help you guide an employer to the type of work-based learning experience that's right for them, that is right for them. My name is Alejandro Reina. I'm a manager at Ascend on the Workforce Strategies team. I'm joined with our Senior Director, Destiny, as well as Scott Evans, who is our lead product manager, and Ibikiri, who's a software engineering lead. So they really helped make our tool that we'll be sharing a reality for us. So excited to have them here today. If you are new to Ascend's work-based learning micro-learnings, these are monthly sessions where we introduce a tool, best practices, or opportunities to support the work of work-based learning professionals like you all here today. And so previous sessions can be found on our website, on our resource page. And I wanted to share a couple topics that we have lined up for this summer. Coming up next in June is our employability skills training plan. And so this is going to be a template similar to the training plan and work that we've already developed, but specific to employability skills. So for students that are in those part-time jobs, this will be a training plan to support those experiences. So we hope that it helps employers understand, how to guide a student through a little bit of more of a professional development side to that, and that students can walk away from those experiences understanding that they have developed some skills that's going to help them in their careers onward past that. So wanted to share these dates here for the rest of the summer, but the topics aren't confirmed yet, but we will be at some point, if you're part of the SLB coalition, we'll be sharing that toolkit just more broadly to the rest of our RLI network and work-based learning coordinators that join these calls. So those registration links we'll include in our email after today. Well, before we begin introducing our new tool, I just want to share that this is a prototype. It's a work in progress, but it was really built and designed with you all in mind. So we know the best way to make it truly useful is to open it up for feedback. And before we launch this and release it to really everyone and put it on our website, we'll be asking you all to if you would consider sharing your thoughts or what we could improve in the tool to make it really, again, as useful and helpful to you all, as well as the rest of the employers across the state and other coordinators, work-based learning coordinators and intermediaries. So over the last year, a consistent pain point we've heard from employers as well as intermediaries is that we know employers can't navigate work-based learning on their own. There are these 11 options, and employers just don't know or don't have the capacity to figure it out on their own. And I know we heard from some partners that some employers just straight up ask them, just tell me what's going to work for me. I don't have the time to do this myself. So and that's where really the important work that you all lead is so important, helping employers really interpret those requirements and provide recommendations. But we also know that as necessary as that role is that you're playing, it is time consuming and takes quite a bit of your time and your capacity. So that one-on-one employer educating to help them understand those requirements is not a small task, and to do that at scale to get to the needed amount of opportunities for students in the next couple of years is something we know is not going to be an easy lift. And so our team has spent the past few weeks thinking about what we could do to help both employers understand their role across the work-based learning options, and then help you all with guiding more employers to those right work-based learning experiences. So behold, we've created an employer work-based learning assessment, which is a free online questionnaire that an employer will answer a few questions about their ability to pay students, or if they can have students on site and what level of supervision that they can currently provide. The tool then quickly interprets that and those selections against the menu of experiences and provides a recommendation for multiple or one options based that are ranked by match, by best match. So with that, it also provides them a readiness checklist. And so that readiness checklist is really a high level set of key considerations that we believe an employer would find relevant as they learn about work-based learning types and figure out what is really best for them. But instead of just continuing to talk about the tool, I want to pass it on to Scott to show us the employer work-based learning assessment in action. So Scott, take it away.
Thank you. Right. I'm going to get the green light. You give me a thumbs up if you can see. There we go. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Alejandro, for the opportunity to share this today. He touched on all the quick points, but this should take, less than 3 minutes. It's designed to be really easy and light, but also be really rich in terms of the information that you get at the end. We also have some things at the end that you'll see where we have like almost a fit nudges, and I'll explain that when we get there. But basically, if you've ever taken a quiz like this before, you're like, I wonder what would have happened if I would have answered this question in this way. And so we provided you the ability to go back and change an answer, and you'll see that as well. Ultimately, it's just built to spark conversation within your teams as you're helping employers, or if you are the employer, what makes the most sense for you today. So I will run through a couple of scenarios. We'll just get started. So question 1, where can this experience take place? And so I'll say, as I'm working with the employer, I'll say, you know what, we can travel to the school, but actually they can come to us as well. How many hours per week can you provide meaningful work for a student? I'll say, how about moderate? Will the student's experience be focused on a defined project or a specific role? We'll go ahead and say defined project. Are they completing a project if they can work individually, or must they work in a team? We'll do that. And then I will say the supervision, again, we said moderate. And then what types of development experiences can you provide? Yep. And then are you able to pay? We'll say no in this case. And are we willing to develop it based on the Department of Labor Registered Apprenticeship Program? And you'll see we've actually provided you a definition here, because not everybody's going to know what that is. So I'll go ahead and say yes. And then I just hit see my results. And you'll see that my best match is school-based experiences. What I can do is open that up and get kind of a quick hit checklist, but then I can also hit print, and then that's going to give me the full checklist, as well as the link to our intermediary directory to make sure that the person's there and can get the help that they need right then and there. The things that I was mentioning earlier, you've got almost a fit on internships, and the only thing I need to do is allow the student to work individually. So I'll actually go back and update that. Say either works, or I could say individually. Either one would change the result. And now you can see internships has changed to our best match. It changed school-based experiences because we said both work. And then if I hit print, you're going to get a readiness checklist for internships. I actually really think I only need to go through that once, because there are about a million different scenarios that you'll see in here. Again, I can type my name, the organization, just to kind of customize that printing checklist. And then, of course, you can hit start over, take the assessment again, as many times as you need to find the best experience for you. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not sure, Alejandro, do you want me to take questions now, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, if we get any questions in the chat, I haven't seen any come through.
Oops, sorry.
As of now, see any, but I will. Thank you for that, Scott. If we get one that pops up, I will go ahead and answer that. But yeah, so yeah, as I said, we're really excited about the tool. And okay, here we go. Here's one. For best match, does it prioritize? And it just went away.
Yeah, I can answer that. So the best match, it's really just about the level of complexity that your organization can handle. So really, if you see it best match or just a regular match, they're more or less equal. It just sorts in that. I mean, it sorts in a manner to stretch up into. I guess if you order things by the complexity of having the program, it sorts it up to try to help people kind of be up into the program level that they can provide.
Thank you for that, Scott. Great question. Right, well, I will keep us moving here. Again, this tool is currently a prototype, and we want to make sure it's going to help you all and help other employers, the employers that you work with, understand what's going to be their best option. And so you're all the subject matter experts. You do this work day in, day out. So as we test the tool after we share it, and feel free to let me know what you believe we should consider including or updating, or maybe other questions that we should ensure that we answer. No idea is too small, so please feel free to share anything that comes to mind through email or on a feedback form that we'll share after today. And so as Scott walked through, the assessment is really recommending a specific experience based on how that employer answers. And I'd like to provide a bit more of insight into what needs to be true for a certain experience to be recommended and what is we're considering is relevant to an employer. And starting here with student-led businesses. And so these are those three experiences. If you're in the SLB coalition, you know very well about these. But for anyone seeing this for the first time, these are the three experiences that students are operating a real simulated business within a school setting. And so the only difference with the student entrepreneur experience is that the business is completely student run and owned versus the student school-based enterprise is kind of something that lives within the school and is managed by a teacher or someone else at the school. So some of those additional components included below that would need to be true for an employer and as they answer that form or assessment is that they'll need to have a staff member available or members to travel to that school. That time commitment it can be as little as 1 to 2 hours, and it could be multiple touch points. But we know that though there's no direct supervision of students, we want to make sure that mentorship is always an option and that they're considering that, and that some of their involvement would more than likely include some class presentations or even some structured hands-on learning that is relevant to that SLB that they are supporting. And so, yeah, last bit here that, of course, students are not paid for these experiences. And so these three are kind of matched as one recommendation through the assessment. The next experience I want to talk through is the industry developed team challenge. And so again, this is where an employer presents students with a real problem or project. Students either spend it could be that afternoon, that day, working through it, or I've seen some examples that they're more like semester long projects where students are working on them in a class and working through that. And so again, having a staff member available to travel to the school, or maybe even some space to host students on site if it's a problem that requires certain equipment, and then ensuring that the employer is going to be available to provide regular check-ins if it is a semester long experience, and provide feedback on students' progress or supporting them through that development of their solution. Again, no direct supervision, but students should definitely receive feedback on their final solution. So we've included that as part of the criteria, as well as, again, students do not have to be paid or are not paid for these experiences. Moving on to employability skills co-op. So this is that paid, mentored, and on-the-job training experience where students are taking their classroom instruction, and it's really focusing on those transition skills or skills relevant to just general employment. It's not directly aligned to any one pathway. And of course, we know that students must be paid for this, and employers will need to be providing that direct supervision with mentorship and skill development. And so that's tied to 2 to 9 hours a week. It's going to depend, again, on what the actual experience is that's available in that community, and then that they will, again, need to host a student at the workplace, given the required minimum of 25 hours. And so we've added that range again of 2 to 9 hours per week. And then that the student's experience here can be specific to a role or a project that that employer wants to provide that experience through. So these are, again, those requirements that are relevant in the added criteria for employability skills co-op. Another two of the work-based learning types that we've included as one response to an employer going through that assessment is academic and micro internships. So as we work through kind of making sure we're understanding these experiences, we found that these two are pretty similar. And so we've added them as, like I said, as one. And so an employer would need to host that student at the workplace for at least that 24/5 hours. And once again, paying students here is optional. If they are working for them, of course, we're encouraging that as a best practice, that those students are being paid for the work that they're leading and providing the employer. Direct supervision, here is, of course, also going to be required at that 2 to 9 hours per week, depending on how many hours that student is working, providing that mentorship, skill development, and that, again, it could be project-based or role-based. It just really depends on that experience. And what's specific to academic internship versus micros could be more general for a student who's might be taking a health class and wants to job shadow and learn a little bit about nursing versus as a career awareness experience, versus academic is going to be a student that's definitely interested in again, like here that example is in a hospital setting, and they're already taking those classes, but maybe their school doesn't have a CTE program, and so this is that option for them to get that experience that's maybe going to meet their required hours for an LPN program or an MA program. So those are academic and micro internships. And the next internship that's left of the options is technical internships. And here the important thing is that these experiences must be connected to a CTE pathway. And for the employer wanting to consider this as an option, they would need to work with the school or the local CTE center to understand what is that pathway that exists that is going to connect to what they can offer, and potentially if there's not, but this is something that they're so interested in, ensuring that they understand how to work with the organizations in their communities to help develop one of those options. And so, again, they have to host those students, paying them is optional, supervision required of them, and then that the experience here, again, project or role base, but always must be connected to an existing or CTE pathway. Moving into the apprenticeships. And so here, starting with modern youth apprenticeship. And so we all know that all of the apprenticeships require require a bit more from the employers, and so the criteria for these is more of a requirement for those employers, and so it requires a lot more of them to host the students, and that range reflects that. So here they must be willing to host them for 10 to 20 hours a week, paying them for the hours that they work is required, and that the direct supervision here is gonna be required as well. And so for modern youth apprenticeship here, that's state defined. That's going to require that 650 hours of on the job experience. Yes, I saw that question come in. We will this will be posted, and we can add the PDF to the deck in our email. And then moving to pre-apprenticeship, similar to the previous example. And so like the two internships, academic and micro, as well as a student SLBs that are provided as one match. These apprenticeships are also provided in that way with additional specific requirements outlined for each of them. But here for pre-apprenticeships, requiring at least 150 paid hours with additional 40 hours of related technical instruction. And so that's required. That's included in the experience details, but the requirements from an employer might look pretty similar, knowing that there's going to be some more work that they need to do to develop one of these pre-apprenticeship programs if there's not already one existing in their direct region or community. And lastly, that the DOL registered apprenticeship. And so this, again, being the biggest lift for an employer if they're wanting to develop one. And so reflected in the amount of hours that they need to be able to host a student, and then knowing that this on-the-job learning is going to be over 2 to 3 years, we've added additional details of how they would need to connect and work with their region to ensure that this option is something that they really want to step into. Right. Well, that's really what we had for you all. Again, I just want to say thank you to Scott and Abby who helped us really take these definitions I just shared, as well as what we know about the 11 types from what the state has released, and really design something that is easy to use for an employer, as well as work-based learning coordinators and intermediaries to help employers really walk through this, or just handing that over to them. So really want to thank our colleagues for helping us make this a reality. So thank you, Scott. And just want to touch quickly again on what's next. I hope you're able to spend some time testing out the tool, and if you have any ideas, feedback, or things that we should consider, please feel comfortable sharing those with us. We're hoping to kind of take all that as it's coming through and figure out how to update the wording and those readiness checklists to consider a lot of what you're sharing, so that we can later here in the next month put this on our website so it's available for anyone to access. So you'll get a link to the tool and follow-up email, as well as a link to register for next month's microlearning on employability skills training plan. So please look out for that. Other than that, thank you all so much, and we hope to see you next month, next microlearning.